Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Saturday, July the 29th, race number 10 at Saratoga. We're going 1 1/8 miles. It's the $600,000 Grade 2 Jim Dandy featuring the rematch between Kentucky Derby winner Always Dreaming, Preakness winner Cloud Computing. Let's take a look at this field. Always Dreaming installed as the even money morning line favorite by Travis Stone. Boy, he was so good in the Derby. 102 Beyer speed figure over a wet track. What happened in a Preakness?
I don't know. He certainly didn't look like the Derby horse when they brought him back at Pimlico, that's for sure. We'll see what happens as he comes back off of a little bit of a break here. Maybe he just needed it. We'll see. I guess, Dan, the real advantage that he has in this race just might be that he'll make the lead from the rail. I mean, doesn't he just look like the main speed in here? Maybe the stretch out Pavel off the maiden win will go with him, but I thought he'd control the pace.
See, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that John Velasquez is going to send this
race.
Yeah,
he's got it.
How aggressive will Mario Gutierrez be aboard the stretch out sprinter Pavel? Perhaps Timeform US has an answer. They have the pace projector. They believe that Pavel's going to be out there. Always Dreaming will be up close. Johnny V has options. He's going to break. He's going to break hard with this horse. He's going to go. If Pavel wants to leave, he's going to ease back and get to the two-path, much like the Derby. Yeah,
that's the trip he got him in the Derby, and maybe that'll happen. I don't, not that I'm disagreeing too much with that pace projector because Pavel looks like a fast horse, but, he's only got one running line to work off of, so they don't have a lot of data here. Who knows what they're going to do with this horse? They're going to try and wire this field as they stretch him out for the first time? Maybe they are. I think you're right about Velasquez. He probably doesn't care either way. He'll come out of there running. He'll try and make the pace. If he can't, he'll try and get to the outside.
Should handicappers look at Always Dreaming and say, listen, the last race was the only flop of his career. He came back on 2 weeks. It's not a Pletcher move. It's probably best to say that's not the real Always Dreaming. And now with this layoff, he's fresh. He seems to be training really well at Saratoga. We should expect a more representative effort like the Florida Derby or the Kentucky Derby.
Should they look at him like that? I don't know if they should look at him like that, but they certainly could look at him like that. Because you're right, it really is the only time when he didn't fire. I mean, he was so disappointing in that race, but it's really the only one where he didn't fire. The problem with giving him too much of an excuse for that race is if you're going to start really taking his races apart, he really only has the Derby, and that's the kind of race where everything sort of went right for him. And I know the pace was legitimate, but he got one of the better trips in that race, right up there. It felt like he had to be close. He got to the inside early on in that race. A lot of things went well for him that day. I could go either way on him, Dan. I sort of wonder, I kind of want to make him prove that he's, a top 3-year-old.
Cloud Computing, 6-5, second choice on the morning line. Very game winner of the Preakness. He got a beautiful trip, saving ground in behind, Always Dreaming in Classic Empire. But he had to come out and get Classic Empire, who really ran that day. And I think you can make the argument that a very similar trip is coming here in the Jim Dandy.
I think you could, and that's what I like about him, too. I like the way that he won that race, because it's not, listen, he had a really nice trip. It was a great ride from Castellano, but he still had to run to win, and I like the way that he did it. And he's just one of those horses. Only 4 starts. Who knows where his ceiling is? I don't think we've seen it yet. And he's got those 2 races in the middle between the maiden win and the Preakness. He ran great in those races where things didn't necessarily go his way.
I think you made a very good point of that. We may not have seen his ceiling, whereas the other sort of big-name 3-year-olds, the Always Dreamings, the Classic Empires, we probably know where they are. We probably know they're good race. It's pretty good, but boy, Cloud Computing in start number 5, he might just be scratching the surface of his potential. Fellow Keeneland grad Pavel is shipping all the way in off of a maiden win, stretching out from 6.5 furlongs to 1 1/8 miles. He was very visually impressive. I'm not sure he beat much, but he got a fig.
That's true. I don't know about you. I like this debut a lot. I thought this horse showed some real ability first time out. They're asking a lot here, shipping him across the country, stretching him all the way, not just stretching him out to 9 furlongs, but doing it at Saratoga where you got to have some stamina, you got to be fit. And he's going to have to do it in a race where, one of the horses to beat anyway, a pretty good one, is another speed. He's going to have to deal with that horse early. I don't know. I think they're asking maybe even a little too much for him. But I won't be surprised if this horse turns out to be pretty good down the line.
A really intriguing entrant drew the outside in this field of 5, and that is Good Samaritan, who is a really nice turf horse. Graded stakes winner, grade 1 placed on the grass. And Bill Mott's showing a little bit of confidence here, taking a shot, trying this horse on the dirt. Now, I don't see a ton of dirt in this pedigree, although the dam is a half to Wiseman's Ferry, who was a multiple graded stakes winner on dirt.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, I love the Harlan's Holidays on dirt. I think they're fine on dirt. We'll see. I kind of get it, sort of understand why they're going to take a shot here. It's a short field, too. That doesn't hurt him, although boy, he's got the wrong running style in a lot of ways for this race. I mean, I guess he'll just get outrun early in here and then try and come and pick up some pieces. I know that, you know, you could sort of look at him in his last 2 races. He ran really well both times. And you could just say, well, it was pace compromised. Oscar performance, you know, wired those fields at moderate paces. What chance did he really have? But that's sort of him. I mean, he's going to be last every week, so I don't know how much of an excuse you really want to give him for those races.
Let's take a look at our top selections for this year's Jim Dandy Stakes. You're going with Cloud Computing. Of the big two, he's the one that I would want, and he's the one that I would press in multiple race wagers. From a single race standpoint, I may take a shot, though. With the 3, Giuseppe the Great, I've been crying and moaning along with other people. This 3-year-old division isn't very good.
It's true.
Let's find someone to step up and do it. Maybe it's Giuseppe the Great. Now, he did not fire last time out in the Dwyer, but I think that's not his running style. Pressing a slow pace on the outside. He attacked on the turn and he was rebuffed. Nick Zito's removing blinkers for this race. I think we're going to see a running style like the maiden win at Keeneland, like the second place finish in the Woody Stevens Stakes. I think he's going to hope that Pavel and Always Dreaming set a legitimate pace, and I think when Javier pushes the button on Cloud Computing, Louis Saez is going to try to go with him with Giuseppe the Great. We'll find out how good he is. I like the incremental stretch out in distance, and I think 1.1 1/8 is within his scope as he's looking for lucky. He's going to be a big price.
He's going to be one of the bigger prices in the race. I agree with you. I like the way Nick did it, you know, stretching him out in increments, and I think that will help him. It's just a question of whether he gets the right, even if they're going to take him back in here, he's going to need some pace to run at, and I don't know how fast they're going to go early in this race, but we'll see.
I think Pavel will at least force Always Dreaming's hand for the first quarter mile or so. Then we'll see how it shakes out. Cloud Computing versus Always Dreaming in the Grade 2 Jim Dandy. Did I mention it's the local prep for the Travers? If you're playing the Saturday Saratoga card from home, graded stakes races galore, including the Jim Dandy. If you sign up to DRF Bets, you'll have access to a 10% win place takeout on 10 select tracks, including Saratoga, plus a $300 cash bonus. You'll learn more at drf.com/take10. Mike's going with the Preakness winner, Cloud Computing. I'm certainly using Cloud Computing in multiple race wagers. I'm going to go 3-2, however, hoping Giuseppe the Great upsets the apple cart for Nick Zito in the Jim Dandy. Best of luck.